Say hello to Chateau de Chambord, a Renaissance jewel with a history of more than 500 years. Even Leonardo da Vinci had a hand in its design, inventing the legendary double helix staircase where those going up never meet those coming down. The chateau has 426 rooms and more than 4,500 works of art from different eras. Its grounds form the largest enclosed park in Europe, 5,440 hectares, that is about 54.4 square kilometers, surrounded by a wall 32 kilometers long. Half of Paris would easily fit on this territory. Formerly, Chateau de Chambord is priceless. Its estimated value exceeds $1,000 million. But even if you had that money, you still couldn't buy it. The chateau is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and is partially open to visitors. The Evergreen Crystal Palace is the perfect hideout for a billionaire hermit. This 5-story glass mega residence in the state of Missouri is listed for $80 million. Construction began back in 1990 for businessman Robert Plaster, but the project turned out so grand that it was only completed in 2022 after the owner's death. Since then, the Evergreen Glass Palace has been waiting for a new owner, someone who appreciates total isolation and privacy across 2,320 square meters of living space. That's so much that you could comfortably fit an entire football stadium inside. You can reach the house only by air, so there are 2 helipads on the roof. Inside, green marble, bronze details, a jacuzzi with a water view, a private bar the size of a restaurant, and an underground garage for 12 cars. Would you live in such a glass castle? Would you pay $238 million for bare walls and an unfinished apartment? Billionaire Ken Griffin did in 2019. This is the most expensive 4-level penthouse ever sold in the United States. It occupies the top floors of Central Park Tower, a 132-story residential skyscraper, the tallest in the world. From the windows, you get panoramic views of Central Park and all of New York. The penthouse area is 2,230 square meters, about 20 times larger than typical apartments in the same building, and then tens of millions more were poured into ultra-luxury finishes. Griffin even paid $750,000 for an underground parking spot designed for 64 cars, and he doesn't even plan to live there permanently. To get a sense of scale, for $238 million, you could provide housing for more than 1,000 families. Instead, this apartment sits empty most of the time. Chateau Louis XIV, the new old castle. How old do you think Chateau Louis XIV is? 300? 400? In fact, only about 14 years. It's the only modern castle in all of France, and it's located just minutes from Versailles. The villa's area is about 7,000 square meters. The architecture is inspired by the style of Louis XIV's era, and inside it blends historic design with cutting-edge technology. The estate is surrounded by 23 hectares of gardens with a fountain coated in genuine gilded gold leaf, and a park created in the spirit of Louis XIV's original residence at Versailles. To realize this ambitious project, it took hundreds of French craftsmen and 3 years of work. Tons of marble and more than 15,000 gold leaves were used. The result is a masterpiece worth about $300 million, later purchased by an anonymous buyer. Have you ever been on a plot the size of a small town? Meet Villa La Leopolda on the French Riviera. It's valued at roughly 750 million euros. With an area of 72,843 square meters, it's the most expensive private residence in Europe. It was built by King Leopold II of Belgium himself. The room layout flows like a continuous route. One space transitions smoothly into the next, creating a feeling of endlessness. Several pavilions are entirely devoted to galleries of art and antiques from around the world. Every piece is selected to fit the villa's aesthetic perfectly. The gardens are planted with rare and exotic species you won't find anywhere else in Europe. That's why this territory is considered one of the world's most beautiful landscapes. Even Alfred Hitchcock couldn't resist. He filmed one of his movies here. To wake up in Versailles-like interiors, you don't have to go to France. Just buy Playa Vista, a mansion on Florida's famous Millionaire's Mile. There's a private beach and 150 meters of shoreline. You can dock a couple of yachts at once. One look at the gates covered in 22-karat gold and it's clear. This is pure concentrated luxury. In the giant hall stands a marble staircase costing $2 million and a 120-year-old Austrian chandelier. On the grounds, garage space for 30 automobiles, a resort-style pool with a bar and a water slide, and the world's first private IMAX theater. Even Versailles can't boast that. In 2017, this palace, originally called Le Palais Royal, was listed for $159 million, setting a US price record, but it ultimately sold for only $42.5 million. Looks like the new owner knows how to negotiate. Would you like to live in a real Barbie dream house? Then meet Palais Boulet, the Bubble Palace. An eccentric pink mansion near Cannes that belonged to designer Pierre Cardin. Each of the 10 bedrooms is decorated by its own contemporary artist, and the furniture looks like it arrived from another planet. Everything, from chairs to built-in niches, was custom-made and exists as one-of-a-kind pieces. Guests can watch shows in a 500-seat amphitheater or dive into an infinity pool overlooking the French Riviera. In 2017, Cardin listed Palais Boulet for a staggering 350 million euros, but the right crazy billionaire willing to buy it still hasn't been found. While the palace awaits a new owner, it has become a set for music videos, films, and fashion shows. Billionaire Mansion, a home only thousands of billionaires can afford. The name says it all, Billionaire Mansion. This palace in Beverly Hills was valued at $250 million, and only about 3,000 people on the planet could afford it. The reason is simple, only they are officially billionaires. The 4-story residence of 3,530 square meters is literally a luxury shopping mall disguised as a private home. On the grounds, an infinity pool overlooking the city, a collection of classic and sports cars worth about $30 million, more than 130 works of art from around the world, and a helicopter on the roof as if straight out of an 80s TV show. In 2019, the mansion finally found an owner, Charles Cohen, who bought it for only $94 million. After all, billionaires don't get rich by making bad financial decisions. Casa Maranello. Architect Aldo Stark was so obsessed with Ferrari that he designed an entire house inspired by the legendary brand. Thus, Casa Maranello was born. It's the most expensive property in Delray Beach, Florida. The house sold for $50.5 million. At the entrance, guests are greeted by a fountain with Ferrari's signature rearing horse. Inside, a private gallery for 12 supercars, and in the Star Hall stands a unique 75% scale replica of the classic Ferrari 250 Testarossa, the only one of its kind. The wellness zone rivals Bulgari hotels in luxury, a Himalayan salt room, a sauna, a steam room. The bar alone costs $2 million, with a bar counter of backlit tiger's eye onyx and walls of petrified wood more than 1 million years old. The buyer's identity is kept secret, but one thing's certain, this person loves Ferrari with all their heart. On Long Island stands Fortune, the former estate of Henry Ford II, heir to the legendary automotive empire. This European-style mansion was built in the late 1950s. The holdings include about 42 acres of land and roughly 1 mile of private Atlantic shoreline. Inside the bohemian, mid-20th century touches are still preserved. Decorative molded ceilings, marble fireplaces from Italy, and French parquet floors. Outside, a tennis court, a basketball court, and an 18-meter pool. In 2017, the house was listed for $175 million, but no buyers appeared. Then, HBO rented the estate to film the series Succession. After the show's success in 2021, the mansion was finally sold for a substantial sum. The deal was done at a high level. And so we've reached the end of our tour of the most insanely expensive homes on the planet. What do you think? Does it really make sense to shell out such astronomical sums for mansions that sometimes even sit empty? Or is it more logical to invest that money in something completely different? Be sure to write your opinion in the comments. What would you do with such fortunes? And we'll see you in the next episode on the channel for the richest. Thanks for watching.